Hey YouTube, yes, I'm still rocking the hat. No, I will not be taking it off in this video, I promise. Anyway, the last few weeks I've had some time to think about trips that I've got up and coming. But as you may have noticed from the intro, I still don't have any panniers. During my former life in the army, I spent weeks, sometimes even months in armoured vehicles, cooped up with very little space. And that taught me to pack light and taught me about space management, which is difficult to do when you're sharing that space with three other guys. And oh, the smell. So I don't intend to rush out and buy a brand new set of panniers. Looking at best part of £1,000 for the racking and everything else, just not in that place at the moment. So I am gonna make work things that I've already got. I've got some dry bags, I've got some Givi crash bar bags that I'll be putting to use. I had to make some modifications to how I mount this stuff, which involved a drill. It went much better than I thought it would. So I think I'm now pretty close to a decent touring solution with no panniers mounted onto the Super Tenere. So all that remains is to get out and test it. So let me show you what I plan to carry and where I plan to carry it. To the bike! Welcome back. As I mentioned earlier in the video, my previous life as a tank commander has taught me to pack light when on a vehicle. On a tank, certainly a Challenger 2, you used to only get about a couple of square feet of space in one of the bins on the turret, and then you made use of every nook and cranny. Now clearly with that in mind, you'd think the first thing I'd do is go out and spend £1,000 on panniers for the Super Tenere. But at the minute I'm on a bit of a budget and I want to make use of what I've already got from things I've bought from other bikes and stuff that I'll use for camping, hiking, that kind of stuff. So let's take a walk around the bike and I'll show you the setup that I've got going on. So I'm a simple man, so we'll start this simply. We'll go from front to rear. So mounted up front on my accessory bar, there is the Ultiamateaddons case and a Ultiamateaddons GoPro mount. That is what I'm using for nav and one of the mounts for the video. And there's also another mounting point on the wing mirror nut there. That's not an Ultiamateaddons. I use my phone for sat nav, so it just makes life a little bit easier. I've also got a power socket just in there, which will take a couple of USB cables just to keep that GoPro and that phone running throughout my trip. So I use the Shad E22 tank bag. I bought this originally for my Tracer 700 a couple of years back, and there's a full installation and in-depth review of the tank bag up here. It's a pretty decent tank bag. It's got a ton of space in it and it fits okay on the Super Tenere. It's not quite perfect because the Tenere has that drop off on the fuel tank quite sharply, so the bag sits at a weird angle. You get used to it after a while. It's a great bag, there's tons of space and it's fairly versatile as well. So let's go and dive in and I'll show you what I carry on tour in my tank bag. So first up on the top is a waterproof case for iPads, maps, whatever. I've just got a map of a road map of the Isle of Wight on there for now. It's pretty handy. I do like covers like that on the top of tank bags, so it's kind of a must for me. Right, inside, this is, as I said earlier on, is where I predominantly keep my camera gear. Mostly I'm out vlogging, taking photos, etc. That's kind of the whole point of a lot of the trips I do, and this is where I keep the big sort of stuff that I don't want damaged and that I can quickly take off the bike if I have to go and pay for fuel or something like that. Starting from the lid, so I've got two power packs here, or power banks rather, just handy in case I don't have access to a charging facility. I do run power off the bike into the tank bag to charge up the GoPro batteries, but these I could then charge other items as I'm motoring along, and they're also handy if I get to a campsite. I haven't got a hookup. I generally don't do hookup. I also have got a couple of pencils, and in here a notebook. I think that's the army in me. I always take a notebook and pen around, but it's handy just to write down field notes. I've got ideas for vlogs or camera shots I want to get. It's a good way of just jotting that down so I don't forget it. In the very top I've got the rain cover, just an elasticated one, which helps keep it dry obviously during rain, because it's a rain cover and that's what it does. In the main compartment of the tank bag, I have a dry bag. This one's empty at the minute. That's where I normally keep snacks and that kind of thing, just to keep me going through the day. And the tank bag at the moment is packed for a specific project that I'm doing. So, you know, this will vary tour to tour, but as an indication, I've got a lens. One of my lenses, this is a 35mm fixed focal lens. There you go, and a little bag to protect it. And then my camera. This is just the bag of the camera at the minute because the camera is here. Clearly filming this, but it's a Nikon D5600 for those interested, and I'm just using a standard kit lens, 18-55mm. But that will go in there, and I'll take an additional lens in the bag as well. It's not a, you know, the most advanced camera bag in the world, but it's got good padding, it's got a rain cover in it, and it does fit in the tank bag quite nicely. So as I say, I get my main camera gear in there. And then I've got a little hard box, and in here I've just got mounts and cables, and in the lid I have a SD cards, spare batteries for the GoPros, and indeed the Nikon, and then stickers. If you want any stickers, drop me a comment or something. DM me, PM me, I'll send them out, I don't mind. But yeah, odds and sods really in there. And then onto the front pocket, which is where I will keep my wallet. So that's my tank bag. Fairly standard. As I say, it's packed for a specific project. Sometimes I'll add a few more items in there, such as maybe an additional lens, or if it's a longer journey I'll put water in there. I do like to keep a bit of room in there on the off chance that I buy stuff on the way to wherever I'm going. So, you know, it might be a bottle of fizzy pop or something, some water, a snack. At least I've got somewhere to stash it. So let's take a look at what I'm carrying on the Super Tenere, and we'll go through each bag and I'll give you an idea of the sort of stuff I take. Firstly, starting with my house. I normally use rock straps to secure everything, but at the moment my rock straps are with a buddy of mine, so I don't have easy access. But the straps you get with the T50 are pretty decent, rugged, and they've got this double D ring lock, which I like. I feel you can pull that tighter with more confidence than you can with a frog clip, which can snap. You can see the carrier plate that's underneath the rear pillion seat. It's got a couple of tie down points on it. It only takes 4 bolts to remove the actual seat, and there's like a grab handle that goes over the top. It looks a bit odd without it when you're not carrying anything, but it just makes a whole lot of sense. As I say, you're not then squishing down a seat and damaging the top because you're carrying bags. So yeah, neat feature like that. Let's go and check out what's in this bag. So in the roll bag, as I said, we have my house. Inside here you've got my tent, which is a North Face Rock 22 tent. I've had this for about a decade. A Softy 9 sleeping bag, absolutely brilliant, nice cover. It's a bit bulky, but I do like a bit of luxury. And then a Vango 1.5 thick sleeping mat, kind of self-inflating. And then buried at the bottom, tent poles, tent pegs, and repair kit. And that is my house. Right, I'm now going to show you what's in my top box arrangement. For this I've taken it off the bike because the bike has gone to the garage because it's got a massive nail in the rear tyre. I've got a video on that coming up hopefully next week, so I just thought this would be easier if I just took the whole thing off, and I'll go through with it on the table. So I've got a Beaumont top box. It's not massive, but it's pretty solid, pretty decent. And attached to the sides I've got a pair of Givi crash bar bags. Probably remember these from my Tracer 700 video, where they actually went on the crash bars. In this case they're attached to the side of my top box, and I'll link that video above in case you're interested on the bags themselves, which have turned out to be pretty damn decent if I'm honest. On top I've got a 5 litre dry bag, again bungeed down with a couple of straps. I'll just quickly go through what I carry in each of those. So let's start with the top bag. So in here is where I keep my cold weather clothing and waterproofs. A couple of reasons I keep it on the outside rather than the inside. Firstly, it's just there, it's easy to find. If you've got a minute and you can find somewhere to pull over, I can whip it off the top of the top box, stuff the straps in my tank bag, and that's my waterproofs and my cold weather clothing. Now, the other reason I keep it on the top is if you've not been able to find any shelter, the minute you open the top box you're going to get rain inside. Whilst that's not a massive issue, it can cause condensation if you're then motoring on for a little longer, and I do keep some electricals in there, so I would rather that didn't happen. In my cold weather gear I have a super thick head warmer. Ex-Navy guys might recognise that one. A Kais heated vest, just in case it's super cold, and actually it's a great another layer to wear around the campsite. Not plugged in obviously unless you walk around with a car battery in your pocket. And then I use a held all-in-one waterproof jobby. This one's lined, it's quite warm. It's a bit of a bugger to get on over your gear, so it's handy if you carry a couple of carrier bags to put over your boots. That helps it slide on. It's got a diagonal zip, so it's nice and easy to step through. So that is my cold weather gear and waterproofs. In the side then I've got two Givi crash bar bags, brilliant little bags which I've had to attach through a modification that I made to the box. Now on the top of this top box you get 4 kind of D-ring loops. I was trying to find something similar I could just screw into the side. It was my wife that had the brainwave to contact the manufacturer and ask if we could purchase a couple of extra ones for this box. They actually sent me 8 with fittings free of charge, so thank you Beaumont. That helps me attach those bags to the side, and these bags are kind of things that I need for admin purposes such as eating and cleaning, etc. I'll just whip through each one. So first out of the bag, my Wakako Mini Presso coffee maker. Absolutely blinding piece of kit for the road. And you've probably seen me use this in a number of videos out and about, but I've never actually told you how it works. So here is a very quick video showing the bare essentials of the Wakako coffee maker. Can't beat a bit of coffee B-roll. I seem to be slightly addicted to those, so it'll be a while before I do another one, I think. Or will it? Keep the jet boil in there. Inside my jet boil, I've obviously got the boil itself and one gas canister. If I was going away longer, clearly I'd take more than one, but one lasts me about 3 or 4 days camping. Some water. I use the thermos one because I can actually put hot water, so if I know I've got a long trip ahead, I can boil that first thing in the morning and then keep hot water, and then I'll just buy a plastic bottle or non-plastic bottle, maybe another metal bottle, just to keep in my tank bag for water during the day. And that's it for that side. On the other side, we have coffee. This is actually Coffee Monger's coffee. They sent me some the other day. Ground it up and stick it in there. Big mug, only because it's just handy to have. I don't live off espresso. I live off coffee probably, but I certainly don't live off espresso. So occasionally it's nice to have a big cup of coffee. And because I pack everything into everything, I've got a little tent light in there as well. Collapsible bowl for food. So normally I take boil in the bags with me because they're easy to pack. I'm used to living off them. You can get some great food. However, if it was a longer trip, I'd probably just shop by the day and pick up as I go. These bowls are absolutely brilliant. Again, found to me by Mrs. Island Biker at Aldi, by the way, set of 3 for like a quid or something. Anyway, collapsible bowl, and in there I've got some hand sanitizer, cloth, and my trusty spork. And then last but not least, but yet probably most importantly, a first aid kit. I normally have a sticker on the side as well to let other people know where my first aid kit is in case I am incapacitated. Not that I'd want to rummage around in my kit, but an emergency is an emergency. If you carry one, always check it before you go out and make sure it is complete. So that's my top box slash crash bar bags, not on crash bars, slash cold weather gear setup. In here I have a little softy pillow, which you might see a creature comfort. However, it's less useful as a pillow because it is wafer thin, but it is a great padder. So if you do have a bit of rattle in the top box or anything else, this is just great for padding it out. Also, it's on the top. I can whip it out, put it on the floor and use it as a cushion to sit on to rest my weary bones should I need to. Wash kit in there. I'm not going to show you the contents of that. You're all grown-ups. So this is my drone. It stays in the top there. Appreciate when I'm going to use it, it's planned, so I'll be able to get to it quickly. I've got the space at the minute to keep it in one piece in the case, protected, so I've chosen to do that. And then finally, clothes. Cold weather stuff, pair of jeans, pair of shorts, pair of flip-flops, pair of trainers, t-shirts, pants, socks, that kind of good stuff. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. As you can see, just trying to make use of the things that I have lying around the house and adapt them, and rather than running out and spending a ton of money on hardware that I don't necessarily need right now, but I'm sure I will, and we'll see how that goes in the future. But for now, I think I've got a pretty decent setup. So thanks for watching. Appreciate if you give me a like down below if you liked it, and if you didn't, feel free to hit the dislike button, but I'd appreciate a little comment to tell me why you didn't like it, and see if I can improve in the future. Video coming next week, hopefully not from my back garden, but with a little bit more of bike action. So with that, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. I will see you on the next video, and in the meantime I'll leave you with some of this.